question's been asked. Where are we? What is this place that we've arrived at when the three levels of existence, mind, life, that nitty-gritty level of cause and effect, opposites, karma, that level of the occult, the dreams, intuitions, etc. And that level of awareness where we recognize the interrelatedness of everything, unite to bring about a state that's called Satchitananda, or existence, knowledge and bliss. But to arrive at that state is like being an astronaut that's traveled into outer space. In outer space, the laws that were operational when those three levels of life, mind were divided are no longer operative. We find ourselves needing to adapt. Our mind and our body coming to recognize the new laws that are in play when those three levels are combined and we abide in a state of Satchitananda. To come to know the workings of those laws, there are several very simple old stories that enable a question to be asked. The first is that story about the king who had a vast realm, and he never had any rest. Every day he saw those who came with their grievances and had to find resolutions to the problems that arose. And so his mind was never at rest. At night he lay tossing and turning, full of anxieties. So it became so desperate for him. He didn't know what to do. But it came to his ears that there was a certain hermit who was known to be a great and wise sage who lived on the outskirts of his kingdom. So one day, in disguise, he went off to seek out this hermit. But of course, when he arrived, the sage already knew he was the monarch of that kingdom. But after the usual greetings, the old sage asked him how he could be of help. And the king, in disguise, just told him about his cares and woes and asked him, even begging him, pleading with him, "Can you help me? Can you help me to find peace? Can you help me to quiet my mind?" "Oh, yes," said the old sage. Yes, we can take care of that. Come back at 5 o'clock in the morning and we'll take care of it for you." So the king, somewhat enhanced by this thought that there might be a possibility of finding peace, climbed onto his horse. But as he was riding away, the old sage said, "Oh, by the way, don't forget to bring your busy mind with you when you come." Well, the king thought to himself, oh, he was shattered by this. Oh, the man's obviously a fool. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's mad, so I don't know why I would bother to come back and see him. But after another sleepless night, of course, he was awake and the sun was rising. So he climbed onto his horse and he rode out to where the old sage lived in his hut. But as he approached, there was the old hermit sitting out in front of his doorway with a large staff in his hand. And as the king rode up, the old sage said, well, did you bring your busy mind with you? I'm ready to take care of it for you, brandishing his staff. Well, the king thought, oh, why did I bother to come? Why did I bother? This old man's mad. But anyway, he said, well, while he was here, he might as well do. So the old sage directed him to sit down in front of him, and he instructed him, now look for your mind. And when you find it, show me, and I'll take care of it for you. Here, I've got my staff ready. So the king sat down, and he started to look for his mind. And he traversed his whole body, his whole being, looking for where the mind resided. And as he sought and looked, he became more and more peaceful, until finally he came into a state of deep samadhi. But after some time, when he came out of that elevated state, the sage looked at him benignly and said, well, did you find your mind? I'm ready to deal with it for you. With tears in his eyes, the king knelt down in front of the old hermit, thanking him, saying, you already silenced it for me. The second simple story is about that old man who went into a church, and he knelt down in a pew, and this was observed by the priest who was taking care. And the priest noticed that the old man was kneeling for an inordinate amount of time. But when he arose from his knees, the priest approached him and said, my friend, you were praying to God for such a long time. Would you care to tell me what it was that was the content of your prayer? The old man said, oh, I wasn't praying to God. The priest said, oh? The old man said, yes, I was listening. Oh, said the priest, well, what was it that God was saying to you? Oh, said the old man, God wasn't saying anything. He was listening also. The question that arises for us, that brings the possibility of us beginning to recognize the laws that are operational in this state of Satchitananda, existence, knowledge, and bliss. What, from your experience, is the difference in that deep inward seeking, that kind that we practice in many forms of meditation, mindfulness, vipassanas, inward, and the active state of listening. What for you is the difference? We know that in our journeying, we've practiced bringing the mind back to a center until finally we're living in the present, and we can bring ourselves back to intense presence, which we could say is somewhat inward, bringing us back. But what is this active listening? What's your experience?
For me, when I fall into really deep silence, I can hear better. I
Yes.
start hearing more of nature.
Yes. Yes, yes. Yes.
That brings me back to here now.
Here and now. And how would you perceive that being different from intense listening?
I don't understand really that intense listening. What is that meaning?
What is the meaning of this? So that's a nice question mark for you, isn't it? Because they're clearly perceivable, aren't they?
For me, it's both the same.
To you, from your experience,
Yeah.
it's the same.
Yeah. That's what a state of meditation is. It's intense listening.
Okay.
That state of quietness and just total openness, awareness, pure awareness.
Okay. So why do you think this question is raised for us then, and how is it going to illuminate or bring an understanding of what are those laws that are present in this state, this unified state called Satchitananda? That's a question that's put out there for the moment that perhaps we can answer in the coming days.